And welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. The dawn of the DeBoer era tonight in Tuscaloosa, as Kalen DeBoer makes his Alabama head coaching debut at Bryant-Denny Stadium as the 5th-ranked Crimson Tide host Western Kentucky. Dave Pasch alongside Dusty Dvorak. We'll check in with Taylor McGregor with Coach DeBoer here in a second. Well, Dusty, in the history of sports, following a legendary coach has been nearly an impossible task. When you think about Bear Bryant, Vince Lombardi, Pat Summitt, John Wooden, Phil Jackson, many have tried and few have succeeded. Which brings us to Kalen DeBoer, who's only charged with replacing arguably the greatest college football coach ever in Nick Saban. But one thing DeBoer has on his side, a history of success, including a run to the national title game last year at Washington.
All he's done is win at every level. 104-12, his career record. And when the athletic director, Greg Byrne, was looking for the replacement of Nick Saban, he had a few things he was looking for, but most importantly, he wanted someone who had the confidence to take that spot, to be in that role. Not many people want to be the man that follows a man, but Kalen DeBoer, he welcomed this challenge. It looks different, it feels different in Tuscaloosa, but the standard remains the same. And tonight, we get our first glimpse of the Kalen DeBoer era of Alabama football.
Let's hear from the man of the hour, standing by with Taylor.
Thank you, Dave. Coach, you're here. Bryant-Denny Stadium, you're about to coach your first game as the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. What are you thinking right now?
Yeah, I'm just ready to play ball. These guys are ready to play. We've been hitting each other all fall camp. It's time to play in this beautiful stadium and make it happen.
What do you hope Alabama fans learn tonight about a Kalen DeBoer coached team?
I just hope they see our guys playing for the love of the game, playing for each other, giving everything they got. Confident with what we're going to be as far as prepared, and now it's just go out and play.
Thank you, Coach. Dave, it's go time.
Yes, the wait is finally over. A new regime, the same championship expectations. DeBoer's Tide take the field next. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. 5th-ranked Alabama, its lowest preseason ranking since 2009. Think about that for a second.
Wow.
Taking on Western Kentucky. Bama won the toss, elected to defer, so Western Kentucky will be on offense first. Connor Talty will kick things off to Easton Messer. In 2024, a touchback for Western Kentucky, and a guy very familiar with playing against Alabama, TJ Finley, who starts tonight at Western Kentucky. But at LSU back in 2020, among his 5 starts, 1 against the Tide. 2 years at Auburn, 1 of his starts against Alabama. Last year, started every game at Texas State, transferred again to Western Kentucky, 6'7", 240 pounds, and he set the Texas State record last year for single-season passing yards.
An experienced quarterback with a big arm. He's been in these environments, 3rd time to start against Alabama. Gave the confidence to Tyson Helton to give him the first opportunity to come out and lead this football team in 2024.
Lengthy conversation with the Western Kentucky sideline. There might be an issue with the comms, and if that's the case, if there's a comms issue, as you see Tyson Helton taking off his headset, Alabama would have to do the same. And that's big because now, this year, coaches can talk to the quarterback until 15 seconds on the play clock, and they can also talk to somebody on the defense who wears the green dot on the back of his helmet until that play clock hits 15. Matt Leffler is our referee. We have an SEC crew. Poor Kalen, all he's done is answer questions about starting his Alabama debut for the last almost 9 months. He took the job January 12th, 2 days after Nick Saban resigned. we talked to him yesterday. He said, man, I just can't wait to just talk football, because after tonight, that's all it's going to be about. And here, he's talking to the referee. Can't even start the game.
He was chomping at the bit yesterday to get this season started, see what his football team looks like. He's answered countless questions since the day you referenced when he took over this job. He's going to have to wait a little bit longer, my friend.
All right, let's check in with Taylor.
And
what do you
Dave,
got
there's
down
an
there?
orange hat on each sideline to handle the communication devices, but I did get confirmation that's exactly what's going on. Western Kentucky's headset is not working, so they're working to fix that. Alabama cannot use theirs until Western Kentucky's is finished, but there are 2 guys down here working on getting it fixed, so it's something we'll pay attention to here early in this game.
All right, Taylor, thank you for confirming that. Again, that was our suspicion.
Which is why when we talked to these coordinators yesterday, they still work on signals, just in case something like this were to happen. Both defensive coordinators told us that, still working and making sure everybody's understanding signals, be able to operate if the comms go down, or even in early and late 2-minute situations oftentimes. Talking with Tyson Summers from Western Kentucky, he said, we're not going to try to call something in. We're just going to signal from the side.
So while we have a second, let's also let people know about something that may seem a little bit innocuous, but actually talking with Kalen DeBoer, he thought was huge. And that's what basically is the 2-minute warning in the NFL. It's the 2-minute timeout in college football. And DeBoer spent a good 3 to 4 minutes talking about that with us yesterday, about how the great clock managers are in a position to really take advantage of defenses. And he said now, 3.5 minutes left in the game, you're starting to manage the clock differently than you would in previous years, knowing you have that extra time.
Just the strategy that goes into it. And he said, as a longtime play caller, his head is programmed to know exactly how much time is left, how to utilize that clock. And he's had to completely reset and revamp. Said he spent a lot of time talking with various people on exactly what the right usage of timeouts and how to use that clock late in the half and late in the game properly. So a lot of strategy going to be changed throughout the course of this season. I love the helmet comms that have come in. You're still going to see signaling. It's going to probably take away from some of that. And then the tablets on the sidelines, another thing that you get real-time updates on the side. You can see exactly what happened. Takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for both players and coaches throughout the course of the game. Here we go.
I might need to get some of our audio crew members down there to help them out. A 6-minute delay. And Finley will throw on first down out in space to Keyshawn Johnson, and he's wrapped up after a short gain by Jahad Campbell, who started 8 games last year. Preseason 3rd team All-SEC. Tempo for Western Kentucky. Will Friend is the offensive coordinator and will call the plays. Finley with time has a first down completion out to the 43-yard line. That's a gain of 16 yards to River Helms, the tight end.
Just a 3-man rush, drop 8 there from the defense. Nice job. River Helms, the tight end, finds a nice soft spot in that zone for a first down.
Finley again with time to throw, and that time the pass off target, trying to hit Helms. Had a linebacker in coverage, and Campbell. Well, Finley is not going to be intimidated by the environment, and that's one thing that Western Kentucky has going for it. It's an 8-win team last year, picked 2nd in the preseason Conference USA poll behind Liberty. Got 2 first-place votes. Now we have an official timeout.
Please reset the game clock to 14:05, please. 14:05.
So fixing the clock. Second and 10. All pass plays so far. And now they're going to hand it off to Elijah Young. And he's trampled in the backfield for a loss at the 39-yard line. That was Quay Russaw and Deontay Lawson.
Russaw, they are very excited about. Talking with the defensive coordinator, Kane Womack, yesterday, the redshirt freshman, as athletic as anybody on this Alabama team. Complete and total athletic freak is what he described him as us. Big play already on second down.
Kane Womack, 3 years as the head coach at South Alabama. Worked with DeBoer at Indiana. Pressure on Finley and slammed down. Q Robinson gets the sack and forces a punt, a loss of 11.
Well, Q Robinson working on 53 Marshall Jackson, and it's just a speed rush with the rip, and he gets home clean and a big hit on the quarterback. Exactly what Kane Womack wanted to see. He said, I want to see this defensive line get after the quarterback. Great speed, good dip, and a big sack for this Tide defense.
Cole Adams is deep, and the fair catch made at the 30. That's where Alabama will start its first offensive possession of the new year.
Well, Jalen Milroe was a slow start in 2023. The intermediate passes were slow to come along, but you won't find many quarterbacks in college football with better deep ball accuracy, can push the football down the field as well as anybody. And when he's got the ball in his hands, look out. An explosive, dynamic runner, both in the design quarterback run and when he gets off schedule. And talking with the offensive coordinator, Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer, they want him to lean into that athleticism, play free, and go out and be himself here tonight.
Kalen DeBoer is upset. That's Nick Sheridan that he's talking to right now. Sheridan is the offensive coordinator. They put their headsets on again because they want, obviously, to be able to talk to Jalen Milroe. They were just told they can't for now. Back in a second. We are in tech support mode, and we are told now that things have been fixed, and that means everybody can put on their headsets again, and also the communication between coach and quarterback, which again will shut off at 15 seconds on the play clock. Jalen Milroe going to hand it off to Haynes on first down. And Haynes driving the legs out to the 35 for about 4. Bama having to replace Chase McClellan at running back, a 6th-round pick by the Falcons, and Roydell Williams, who's now at Florida State. Haynes and Jam Miller will split carries this year.
I like this combination, too. Justice Haynes, good short area quickness, explosive, good feet, can make you miss. And we'll see Jam Miller, but he's got good speed and a quality pass catcher out of the backfield. Both these guys are going to split these reps. And this is part of what we'll see in this DeBoer system. Empty, you'll see a lot of shifts and motions pre-snap as well.
Milroe to throw on second down. In trouble, fumbles the ball, and got it back at the 27-yard line. Hosea Wheeler got to Milroe, chopped the ball free, but Milroe covers it up.
Well, this was an issue a season ago. Too many sacks taken by Jalen Milroe. Something that he told us yesterday he spent a lot of time on, finding his checkdowns, knowing when to get rid of the football. He never felt that pressure from Wheeler, the best defensive lineman for Western Kentucky. And a nice sack. He gets the ball out as well.
Loss of 7, so it's 3rd down and 13. Parker Brailsford is back in. He actually, the starting center, was not out there that last play because his helmet came off on first down. He's back in there now, snapping it to Milroe. His pass off target, incomplete. Kendrick Law, the intended wide receiver. A lot of new players. Law did catch 15 balls last year, but no Isaiah Bond, no Jermaine Burton, so some new weapons for Jalen Milroe. That's a rough offensive series to start for the top.
Yeah, Kalen DeBoer, one of the best pass game coordinators in college football. Washington led the country a season ago, and not the start I think most people anticipated out of the chute for this Alabama offense.
James Burnett on the punt. Average about 48 yards a kick, which was number 2 in Alabama history. And the fair catch made at the 20-yard line by K.D. Hutchinson. So Jalen Milroe, you look at what was good last year. He was terrific, obviously, with his feet, and very good at throwing the ball down the field. He was among the nation's leaders in yards per attempt and passing efficiency. You touched on one of the negatives. Way too many sacks allowed, and that 11 to 20 mid-range throws was not great.
Area of importance that they've really worked on. We've already seen one sack where he just didn't quite feel the pressure.
And a jet sweep on first down. Trying to cut it back. Easton Messer with no running room whatsoever. Malachi Moore there for Alabama, along with L.T. Overton.
Good speed there for the Alabama defense. Jahad Campbell setting a good firm edge. Deontay Lawson getting home for a minimal gain.
2nd and 8. Finley from the pocket. Launches, and it's picked off at the 35-yard line. Returned back inside the 20 by Keon Sabb. Transfer from Michigan, who started the national championship game a year ago. And he picks off T.J. Finley here just 4.5 minutes in.
Well, this Alabama defense has taken the ball away as good as anybody during the Nick Saban era. What would it look like for Kane Womack? An easy interception for Keon Sabb, the Michigan transfer. T.J. Finley never saw the safety. He was just staring down the coverage outside by the freshman Xavier Brown. He knew it right when he threw it. Never took his eyes to that safety. Easy takeaway for the Tide defense.
Obviously, a tall order to come to Tuscaloosa and win. And when you do that, make those kind of mistakes deep in your own end, you're asking for it. See if Alabama pays it off. Jan Miller in the game now at running back. From the 16 of Western Kentucky. Miller gets a touch straight ahead. Down to the 12, so 4 yards there.
Now we see a little bit of big personnel. 2 tights in, Robbie Oots and C.J. Dupree. They can mix and match how they want to do this. That was just more of an A set. You can flex these tight ends out, move them around in motion. A lot of pregame eye candy that you're going to see, window dressing, try to get as much information pre-snap as they can as an offense.
And they flex Jam Miller out here on 2nd down and 6 and go empty with Milroe. Western Kentucky bringing some pressure. It's a design run, and Milroe into the end zone for the touchdown. He had 12 rushing touchdowns last year. 2nd most ever by an Alabama quarterback. Jalen Hurts had 13 back in 2016.
Just talking with the staff yesterday, you knew Jalen Milroe, his athleticism, the weapon that he is as a runner, was going to be a big piece of this offense tonight and throughout the course of the season. They get in that red zone, and they put it in number 4's hands.
Alabama has a new kicker this year, Graham Nicholson, who won the Luke Rosa Award last year at Miami of Ohio. He replaces Will Reichard. Reichard, the all-time NCAA leading scorer. Nicholson makes it 7-0.
Jalen Milroe on the perimeter. Let's pull a couple of guards, get them out in front. We'll go Roberts, we'll go Booker. And Jalen Milroe with a big path to the end zone takes it to the house. Tied on the scoreboard for the first time of the Kalen DeBoer era.
Wake up, shot calling. Prime Time is presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. 19 hotel brands, 1 loyalty program. Download the app. And in part by the new Fun 99 menu at Sonic. Live free, eat Sonic.
When Nick Saban took over Alabama in 2007, Kalen DeBoer was in his 3rd year as the head coach at Sioux Falls, 3-time national champ. Guy's only lost 12 games as a head coach at various stops, including Fresno State and then Washington the last 2 years. 25-3 at Washington. Completely turned around a program that had been struggling, trying to find the right head coach. As a touchback here, it'll come out to the 25. And with more on DeBoer, let's check in with Taylor.
Dave, one of the things we heard Kalen DeBoer talk about is never forget where you come from. And yesterday when we were in the facility with Kalen DeBoer, he had his college roommate from the University of Sioux Falls in for the game here today. I asked him pregame, how many texts did you get from former teammates, players, all of the above, and he said, I haven't even counted, I don't know yet. There was a long list of people who reached out to congratulate him on getting to this point and wish him good luck. He said perhaps the most meaningful, though, came from Jeff Tedford, who we got to know at Fresno State. So a long list of people who think really highly of Kalen DeBoer, but never forget where you come from, and that's South Dakota.
Was a great player there as well. Bob Young was his mentor. He's a 1998 grad of Sioux Falls. Finley almost throws another pick as Deontay Lawson jumped in front and almost got Alabama's second INT.
When Quay Russaw once again with a quick inside move. I mean, it is quick like a cat. Forces that pass out early. Vision coverage in the zone by Deontay Lawson. Jefferson or Finley lucky that wasn't 6 the other way.
Three-man rush on second down. Finley's pass on target this time for a first down. Keyshawn Johnson transferred from Alabama State. First team all SWAC last year. Moves the sticks, a gain of 13.
There's a big boy throw here by TJ Finley. In time, in rhythm. Keyshawn Johnson, a nice addition from Alabama State with a big first down.
Alabama almost had too many men on the field, had a defender run on late and then jog back off, and they may have actually caught them for 12 men, and that's why their flags down. Tim Smith was trying to get off the field.
Illegal substitution on the defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The Hilltoppers are going to go fast, Dave. That's what they do under Tyson Helton. They operate very quickly. New offensive coordinator Will Friend stepping in, coaches the O-line, calls the plays on early downs. See Tyson Helton come in, he'll call the plays on third down, and if and when they get to the red zone. But since Tyson Helton's been at Western Kentucky, one of the best passing offenses pretty much year in, year out, they utilize that pace to their advantage.
Year 6 for him. They've won bowl games each of the last 3 years. Option, pitch, and a big hit by true freshman Red Morgan on Elijah Young. Morgan was the star of the spring at defensive back for Bama. Loss on the play of 2.
Well, let's take a look again. Here's Russaw one more time, just getting vertical immediately, forcing the pitch. And then the true freshman that we heard about yesterday, Red Morgan. This is an impressive freshman crop of secondary players. You're going to see Xavier Brown, starter at corner. You're going to see a lot of these different guys in here, and a nice play coming downhill by Morgan.
And then Overton came in and finished him off. 2nd and 7. Finley steps up, takes off. And Finley slides close to the first down. He began his slide, looked like just short or right at the line, and they are going to say he got enough to move the chains. Gain of 7, first down, and Western Kentucky near midfield for the first time.
Smart veteran play by TJ Finley. He loves to escape vertically. You're not going to see him get too wide. A lot of green grass out in front, and moves the chains once again.
Finley rolling to his right this time. One-on-one coverage downfield, a lot of contact. Perhaps an uncatchable ball. Now they throw the flag. Childress was the intended wide receiver. Red Morgan in coverage. There's a conversation going on between the officials about whether that was uncatchable or not.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 16. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
True freshman that we referenced a second ago. Man-to-man coverage. And fighting down the sideline. Like he got that right arm on the shoulder pad. Pass did sell pretty high, but enough contact to draw the flag.
Nice response here by Western Kentucky, able to move the ball into Alabama territory to the 36-yard line. And a delayed handoff here to Young. Down past the 30 and still pushing the pile close to the first down. Great run that time by Elijah Young. The last year rushed for about 474 yards. He was at Missouri previously, spent 3 years with the Tigers before transferring a year ago to Western Kentucky.
He's the bell cow, well-rounded running back. To see him catch the football in the backfield for this offense. Well-executed draw as Western Kentucky has put together a very nice drive.
Ball on the 26 of Alabama now. Finley hit as he throws, and the pass incomplete. He was going for Messer, but Robinson drilled him as he released the pass, and therefore it was errant. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Q Robinson once again with a nice rush. TJ Finley been under duress a little bit here in this first quarter. A lot of new young pieces on the back end of that defense. For Kane Womack, the secondary. Kamani Jackson in from USC. Several true freshmen you're going to see throughout the course of the day.
They told us you could see two true freshmen at corner on the field at one time as Finley throws complete to Helms down to the 22. Malachi Moore is the returner. Keon Sabo had the pick earlier. He's a newcomer, obviously coming from Michigan. Xavier Brown's a true freshman. Terrion Arnold, late first-round pick. Kool-Aid McKinstry, second-round pick. Caleb Downs now at Ohio State.
Those are 3 key pieces to this defense. Just a lot of new defense, but Malachi Moore, as you touched on, he's the communicator, he's the leader. The key 3rd down here in this first quarter.
They also lost to the draft Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell as edge rushers. Finley has time, fires over the middle, another interception. It's Sabb again, his 2nd pick already. Back to the 40, stays in bounds, down the sideline. And finally, on a play, Keon Sabb in his Alabama debut, shining under the lights in T-Town.
Well, Keon Sabb, eyes on the quarterback, reads this the entire way, steps in front, and a huge interception to end this Western Kentucky drive. What a first quarter for Mr. Sabb in an Alabama uniform. Center field safety, top of the field. TJ Finley trying to hit that underneath route, across the middle of the field. Sabb steps in front. A nice job after the interception, getting good quality yardage, but just a smart play, utilizing his eyes, reading that quarterback, taking him to the football, and taking the ball away.
So first down at the 26, 2nd drive for Bama that started inside the 30 of Western Kentucky. Haynes running to the right, grounded after a short gain. Maybe 2 on the play. 2nd and 8. Alan DeBoer told us yesterday when we spoke with him, he's really curious about the running backs. We already touched on the guys they've lost, and as you mentioned, Milroe's a big part of their run game. But obviously, if you have great backs, you don't necessarily have to run your quarterback as much.
And that's what they wanted to see tonight. Both these backs, Justice Haynes, Jam Miller, and last year they didn't run the football as effectively as we're accustomed to seeing from Alabama.
Right, 47th last year in rushing. Milroe in trouble trying to scramble away and get back to the line of scrimmage, and actually got about a yard or 2. Nazir Ward, a corner, had some pressure that time. Big 3rd down here for Western Kentucky's defense.
Yeah, cat blitz there. There's a corner coming off the edge, and Nazir Ward, unaccosted, unaccounted for. Smart by Jalen Miller to fill that pressure, step up, and negate a negative play.
Milroe last year benched after losing week 2 to Texas, but then went on a run, winning 10 straight until losing in the college football playoff. Milroe with everybody covered on the run, then throws at the last second to Law inside the 10 and into the end zone for another Bama touchdown. First Alabama touchdown for Kendrick Law. Was a great special teams player last year, a starter at wide receiver this year, and he pays off the Sabb pick with 6. Graham Nicholson on again for the point after. $14-0 off of 2 Western Kentucky giveaways.
Well, Western Kentucky had something going offensively, but Keon Sabb, reading the quarterback, steps in front, gets a big takeaway. What do you do with it after the takeaway? Well, it's Jalen Milroe. Such a weapon as a runner. The defense is worried. He steps up in the pocket. The defense sucks up an open Kendrick Law, and it's 14-0 tied.
Michigan transfer Keon Sabb with 2 interceptions, both resulting in Alabama touchdowns in Kalen DeBoer's debut as the new head coach of the Crimson Tide, replacing the legendary Nick Saban, who's off to a running start with us here at ESPN, doing a terrific job on game day. The field will be dedicated to Nick Saban here in Tuscaloosa next week in their game against South Florida. That'll be on ESPN. Tomorrow night on ABC and ESPN Plus. How about this game? Number 13 LSU taking on USC in Las Vegas. Coverage starting at 7:30 Eastern Time. The post-Caleb Williams era underway for the Trojans, as we have an injured Alabama player. Boy, Miller Moss, you and I were on the field. We did Caleb Williams' last game last year. Yep. We're talking with Cliff Kingsbury at the time, who was an analyst. He said, Miller Moss is going to play in the bowl game, and you guys are really going to like him. And, boy, he lit it up, and they think he's got a chance to be another in a long line of great USC QB.
He was fantastic, and that's really what Lincoln Riley produces as an offensive coordinator and an offensive-minded head coach. The real question in that game, are the defenses better? Because both those teams have fantastic offenses. Garrett Nussmeier stepping in for Jaden Daniels at LSU. He's going to be good. But you got Danton Lynn coming in to take over that defense at USC. You got Blake Baker coming to take over that defense at LSU. That'll be a good one tomorrow night out in Vegas.
And here you just saw those numbers. Western Kentucky more yards so far than Alabama, but obviously the turnover's a killer. Elijah Young nowhere to go between the tackles. Way Rusaw in there for the Crimson Tide. Also James Smith, who has moved into a backup role this year, played sparingly a year ago. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Western Kentucky was able to move the ball that drive on Alabama, got inside the 30 before the pick. Play action. Finley's pass deflected, incomplete. That was Smith again getting a hand up. 3rd down.
Yeah, nice job by Smith getting his hand up, getting that pass down. 3rd down. We've seen when given time, TJ Finley's had some success here so far. That offensive line's got to be able to hold up. Hugh Robinson's had a sack, a couple of nice pressures. And they give TJ Finley some time to distribute the football.
On 3rd and 8, Finley steps up, running. Down he goes at the 30-yard line, well short of the line to gain. He lost his helmet as well. Jahad Campbell, LT Overton on the takedown. Punt coming up.
What's great effort by Jahad Campbell. You're going to bring him off the edge as a rusher, gets off the chip, and just rallies to the football. Nice job shutting down the rush, retracing, getting back, and stopping TJ Finley short of 1st down yardage.
Cole Maynard will punt for just the 2nd time. Cole Adams is deep. And Adams electing not to make the fair catch. And a flag comes down as he gets walloped by Dalvin Smith after a 41-yard punt.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 12 on the return team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Well, we've got some important injury news for Alabama, so let's get Taylor in here. What do you got?
Yeah, Dave, that is starting left tackle Caden Proctor. He was injured in pregame warmups. Alabama will not disclose his injury, but he's on the sideline with a sling on his left shoulder. So Elijah Pritchard slides over from backup right tackle into that left tackle spot here tonight. An interesting thing to pay attention to because Alabama believes they have a lot of talent on the line of scrimmage, but they need these early games to gel as a group.
Pritchett played in every game last year, but was not a starter. J.C. Latham was the starter at right tackle. He's now in the NFL, being a top 10 pick. Parker Brailsford's new, but great player at Washington. Followed Kalen DeBoer here. But a lot of new faces up front. And obviously the future uncertain now for Proctor. Got a stoppage of play here pre-snap as the Western Kentucky player goes flying.
And Caden Proctor was a huge offseason story as he transferred initially back to Iowa and then came back to Alabama. Played 743 snaps last year as a true freshman. Just got better and better throughout the year. I feel like that left side with Proctor and Booker could be one of the better sides of line of scrimmage in the SEC. And boy, I'm going to tell you, Parker Brailsford.
The enforcement spot was incorrect. The ball will be placed at the 19-yard line. First down.
It's week one for everybody.
Yes, it is. Parker Brailsford, though, going back watching some of that Washington tape, learning about this Kalen DeBoer offense, he is quick like a cat, undersized, but it's going to be a key piece of this Crimson Tide offensive line.
Second team All Pac-12 last year, preseason All-America this year. Brailsford. Milroe has a completion to the 27 to C.J. Dupree. Thought you asked a very interesting question of Coach DeBoer about the size of the offensive lineman at Bama compared to that at Washington and how that could impact things. More on that in a second here as Bama going with some tempo, but a penalty marker is down.
Yeah, because when you go back and watch Washington, they were smaller, they were very quick.
False start. Offense, number 52. 5-yard penalty. It is second down.
Move very well. Just very well. They're the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line, but you look at Bama, they're more bigger, physical, not necessarily as much movement. Interestingly enough, Tyler Booker's down 27 pounds to 325, down from 352. I would imagine being encouraged so he can use a little bit more mobility, but I'm wondering, will the run game look a little different with a different style of offensive line here in Tuscaloosa?
Here's Jan Miller, who is lined up at the top of your screen, taking the handoff. And Miller diving out of bounds. Another flag comes soaring in. First down to the 34. But could we have a block in the back downfield by the Crimson Tide?
Holding. Offense, number 6. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It is first down. Correction, second down.
And Kobe Prentice trying to set that edge, help Jan Miller, and clearly got too big a piece of jersey out there on the perimeter.
People might just be tuning in and looking at the score and being like, wow, Alabama's offense must be rolling. But look at that, 5 penalties. Many of those have come on offense. Going into this possession, fewer yards than Western Kentucky. The takeaways have been the difference so far in the game. Milroe facing pressure, getting out of there, being chased, and elects not to throw it away that time. Got back to the line of scrimmage, though, so no loss of yardage. Deontay McCray in the backfield. It'll be third down and long.
Well, Deontay McCray working on Elijah Pritchett. An easy win on the inside, helped flush Jalen Milroe to set up this third and long situation.
So third down and 13. Milroe taking a shot downfield. My goodness, wide open. Ryan Williams, the true freshman, taking it to the house. 84-yard touchdown. Welcome to college football, 17-year-old and high school sensation Ryan Williams, his first touch as a member of the Tide.
Well, an explosive playmaker and Ryan Williams. They are just ecstatic about the future for him As you touched on, partner, 17 years old. He won't be 18 till next February. Reclassified last year, enrolled early, and he has earned his way and continues to impress each and every day in practice. And impressive here with his first Alabama touchdown.
And Nicholson again for the point after. 21-0. Finally an explosive play from the offense. We knew we'd get him at some point. I'm sure Crimson Tide fans expected it much sooner. It comes here with about 2.5 to go in the first.
Well, it's just going to be outside. Just going to be a go ball. And Nazir Ward, who gets a little flat-footed. Safety 21, Upton Stout, who they raved about. His eyes get caught inside. No safety help over the top. And an easy, accurate, deep throw down the field by Jalen Milroe. Ryan Williams does the rest with that speed, the open field. I think that's going to be a combination we're seeing more and more of throughout the course of this season. The sky is the limit for this true freshman, Ryan Williams.
Reminds a lot of people of Devontae Smith, who won a Heisman Trophy here. Similar stature to Smith, two-time high school player of the year here in Alabama from the Mobile area. Ryan Williams. This will be another touchback, and while we have a second, let's hear from Matt Berry in the studio. Matty?
All right, gentlemen, good evening. Time now for your All-State check-in and the performance of the day and a lock for a helmet sticker on college football final tonight. Ashton Jonty, running back, Boise State, 6 rushing touchdowns. And the Broncos in a big, big way, one of those group of 5 teams that have an eye on the playoff, led by their running back, 6 rushing touchdowns against Georgia Southern.
Yeah, Matt was going to mention that with the expanded playoffs to 12 teams, there is an automatic spot for the highest ranked group of 5 champion.
Boise State, best believe they're going to be in that mix. Got a good squad coming back. Won the Mountain West a season ago.
First down from the 25. Finley throwing in traffic on the wide receiver screen. And breaking tackles is Musa Berry. Jaheim Otis had him dead to rights but could not wrap up. Gain of 5 on the play. Mentioned the expansion to 12 teams. New college football playoff era underway. 5 highest ranked conference champs. The next 7 highest ranked teams. The top 4 ranked conference champs get a first round bye. All first round games will be played on home sites as Otis bats a ball down to the ground. 3rd down and 5. I know you're a big fan of the expanded playoff. It makes the regular season better. The regular season's great already, but the games are even more important now.
How can you not be excited about this expanded playoff? More games relevant late in the season, more fan bases, more teams engaged. And now, it's not going to become flawless, but boy, sign me up. I can't wait to see how this season unfolds, what this first 12-team playoff looks like.
No limit on how many teams from a conference either. After those automatic qualifiers, as the pass is off target, Sabb was upset with himself because he thought he was going to get pick number 3, and he actually turned the wrong way. The ball was thrown the direction that he didn't go. He was trying to decide which way to go, kind of watching him from the safety spot.
Yeah, TJ Finley just a little off, wants to hit this underneath shallow crosser, trying to find Messer. Touch pass, sails high. As you touched on, Sabb kicking himself, what could have been his 3rd pick in the opening quarter.
Good punt here. Backing up is Adams, fielding it on his 18-yard line. Adams trying to get the corner, but running out of real estate. And now a quick word from Verbo.
As your host, I have some rules. 2 flush maximum per bathroom visit. No games, no fun. There's a great barbecue outside, but don't touch that.
Meanwhile, at a Verbo, when other vacation rentals make you share your turf with a host, try one that's all yours.
The stock of Nick Saban continues to rise. Now, I mean, everybody's always seen the personality, but you're seeing it even more now because he's on longer. He was on game day for several hours today.
Great on commercials. He's been excellent on College Game Day. Adds a whole nother element to already a great show. Been fun watching him, and we'll continue to watch him grow in that spot.
Milroe had a little trouble with the snap and pushes forward to the 30 for a couple yards. We spent about 20 minutes with Jalen Milroe yesterday, and he said one of the biggest differences, and it was not a shot at Nick Saban or at Tommy Rees, who was the offensive coordinator. He said I just am having more fun this year. I feel a real connection with the staff. Nick Sheridan, the offensive coordinator, Kalen DeBoer, the head coach.
Well, I think that's the culture that Kalen DeBoer is creating. We heard music at practice on Friday. There's a different feel, a different vibe. It's a little bit looser, more fun happening. Both he and Malachi Moore talked with us about that yesterday. And
Kendrick Law, thrown down out of bounds, gets into a shoving match with DeMarco Williams. And they played against each other, with Williams being a member of the Ole Miss Rebels the last 2 years, but no penalty flag was thrown. I think Williams liked the stiff arm and then just wouldn't let go of Kendrick Law.
a little bit much. All the way past the white over there. A little surprised they didn't throw a flag.
Yeah.
With John going on, Kendrick Law.
Final stages here of the opening quarter. 21-0 Alabama. 3rd down and 2. Play clock winding down. And DeBoer called a timeout to avoid delay
Alabama
of game.
takes its first short timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
Am I being overcritical by saying the operation has not been smooth offensively here in the first quarter? And they're up 21-0. I know that.
No, I think that's fair. I think it's absolutely fair. As we saw there, I mean, not getting that snap off. And I think that there's been a lot of things off so far, starting with the comms. Caden Proctor goes out in the pregame. And I just think everything is a little bit off kilter. 21-0, not representative of what we've seen to this point from this Alabama offense.
Last year, Alabama went to the college football playoff, but early on in the year, there were some question marks about Jalen Milroe. They lose at home to Texas. He gets benched, but they end up still beating South Florida Wake 3. And then Milroe's back in the starting lineup, has the incredible finish in the Iron Bowl to beat Auburn, wins the SEC championship, goes 10-0 as a starter in the SEC. They lose by 7 to Michigan in the Rose Bowl. Snap over the head of Milroe. Ball on the ground and recovered by Western Kentucky. Milroe tried to corral it after a snapped over his head. Devontae Matthews gobbles it up at the 20.
Well, right on cue with what you said. Just the issues continue. And this was a problem last year. That was a different center. We've talked about Parker Brailsford that's come in, but over his head. I'm surprised Jalen Milroe didn't just jump on that football, misses, and gives Western Kentucky exactly what they needed in a short field.
First turnover by Alabama. See Elijah Pritchett over on the sideline. He's in there for Caden Proctor and looks shaken up. Elijah Young spinning away from defenders and down to about the 13. And that will close out the opening quarter. Jamarian Latham lost his lid on the play. He'll have to go to the sideline when we start the second quarter. 21-0 in the debut game for Kalen DeBoer as the Alabama head coach. The highlight, the big pass play, Milroe to Williams.
Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
The SEC on ESPN. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, Taylor McGregor in Tuscaloosa. Modelo kickoff week. Full slate of games all the way through Monday night here on ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, SEC Network, ACC Network. 2nd and 4 for Western Kentucky after the Alabama bad snap that led to a turnover, and a penalty marker is down.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. It is 2nd down.
All right, moments ago, Taylor and Tyson Helton.
Here with head coach Tyson Helton. Coach, turnovers the story in this game. How do you get TJ Finley to settle in?
Well, we just had some bad luck on those turnovers there. One of them TJ forced, but the other one was, just bad luck. we're doing some nice things. We just got to settle in, and we got the ball where we want it. We got to go put 7 on the board now.
Thank you, Coach. Dave?
And they come back and run Finley again. Big guy, 6'7", 240. And Tyson Helton, year 6, 40 wins, 26 losses, 8 wins last year, 9 2 years ago, 9 in 2021. Dad Kim, longtime college coach.
Brother Clay.
Yep.
Georgia Southern, formerly at USC. It was like a big 3rd down, and I would expect 2-down territory from here on 3rd down.
On the roll-up, ball batted back to the quarterback, TJ Finley, who probably should have just knocked it down. Jihad Campbell batted the ball into the air and ends up being a loss of 7 on the play. I get it, you're not expecting it to ricochet right back to you, but Finley's probably got to just knock the ball down there.
That's exactly right. Nice athletic play by Jihad Campbell, but as TJ Finley catches that ball, it's a loss of 7. It changes the math, and I think if they would have been in even a 4th and 3 scenario, you go for it. 4th and 10, you got to try to put points on the board.
Lucas Carnero, preseason special teams player of the year in Conference USA, trying to get Western Kentucky on the board, but no, misses it well wide to the right. So despite the turnover by Alabama, Western Kentucky remains scoreless and the Tide up 21. Pre-game injury.
Jaden Roberts gets called with the hold. Hold of that offensive. Yeah, tough to tell from that angle exactly where the grab was, but draws a flag. One thing about Jaden Roberts, boy, he is strong. One of the strongest guys on this team in the SEC. How about an 825 squat and a 525 bench? Slightly less than UPAC.
Correct. Slightly less. What do you mean? Significantly less. Another flag down. There goes Milroe. Past the 30. Milroe past the 40. And finally out of bounds. But will it come back? Alabama's already been penalized 6 times in this first half. Matt Leffler getting a workout he didn't know he was going to tonight.
Defense, number 21. A penalty be forced from the end of the run. First down.
That's on Upton Stout, so it's a 40-yard run, and then you add yardage because of the holding.
Well, the Jalen Milroe rushing has kind of masked the fact that Alabama has not run the football effectively in this game. Again, pocket awareness, good. They dial up a pressure, and a nice hole opens up off the right side. Jalen Milroe identifies it. So difficult and dangerous in the open field. Big pickup by Jalen Milroe.
First down on the 39 of Western Kentucky. Here's Jan Miller. Through a crease at the 30. Miller turns on the Jets. Inside the 10. Diving for the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Fourth career rushing touchdown for Miller. That one from 39 yards out.
That's the burst and the explosiveness we see from Jan Miller. Does he get in as he dives for the pylon right there, the goal line? He's clearly in. Elbows up, balls across. It's a nice touchdown by Jan Miller.
Upton Stout was trying to make the tackle. That was a 2-play, 80-yard drive. Both run plays. You don't see rarely 2-play, 80-yard drives that are not involving any passing.
We saw earlier on the Jalen Milroe touchdown, both guards pull out in front. This time, it's the right tackle, Formby. It's the center, Parker Brailsford. The pullers are working, and the Tide is rolling.
ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts, is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
When Ray Perkins took over for Bear Bryant, he took down the tower that Bear Bryant used to coach from. One of the changes Kalen DeBoer made, he completely changed Nick Saban's office. Are you in office on the right or on the left type
Who
of guy?
am I to criticize Coach Saban and his decor? But give me Kalen DeBoer all day. That's sleek. That looks good, Dave Patch. You're more of a Saban guy. I know.
I think that traditional
blood,
look
yeah.
on the left, yes, fits my personality more for sure. So be a touchback. It'll come out to the 25. Time now for a drive recap brought to you by Geico with Alabama up 28-0 after a two-play 80-yard drive that took about 4 seconds.
There's Jalen Milroe with his legs. Pressure comes. A sliver opens up off the right side. And then an excellent run here. Nice hole opened up. Pull the tackle, pull the center, and Jan Miller put on the accelerator. And finally an explosive run by the running backs of this Tide offense here tonight.
TJ Finley staying in the game at quarterback. Caden Beltkamp had a terrific bowl game. We thought we might see him at some point, but not yet for Western Kentucky. And they finally get it to Dalvin Smith, who was their best receiver last year. He doesn't get much, maybe a yard on the play. Well, obviously the office change is not the only difference between Nick Saban and Kalen DeBoer. And look, different is hard when you're following a legend, but DeBoer has a great success record everywhere he's been. Went to the national title game at Washington last year. One of the biggest differences, and Nick Saban was always good in our meetings with him in terms of information and talking about his players and stuff, but Kalen DeBoer, very laid back. It's just a different vibe with DeBoer. Different doesn't mean bad. It's just different.
We felt that at practice. Music was a noticeable difference in Alabama practice. Even talking with the players, both Malachi Moore, Jalen Milroe. I think Jalen Milroe said, I never thought we'd hear music at practice at Alabama. He wants players to have fun, enjoy themselves, be loose, be free. And so far, it's been a recipe for success in his career.
Finley running and does not get the first down. They might go for it on 4th down here. Trailing by 28-0. I think at this point you got to go for it, right? I mean, you're down 28-0 at Alabama. Offense staying on the field. That play clock, you saw that. He reacted, the quarterback did, to what he was hearing, and then the play clock shut off at 15. Finley running here and gets the first down out to the 38-yard line.
Just quarterback power. When you've got a quarterback 6'7", 240, follow the puller, follow the running back, and let that big body lean forward and mush his way to a first down.
Now Finley to throw, passes deep over the middle, and almost intercepted again by Malachi Moore this time. Messer was the intended receiver, and now comes a flag. The way Malachi Moore attacked the DB Messer, could they throw a penalty marker on him? Kind of dove at him head first with his shoulder towards the head or neck area. So let's see if we get a targeting here. Just kind of an awkward attempt by Moore. Again, not sure if that's what's going on here, but it was noticeable the way Moore leapt towards the receiver when the ball was seemingly already past him.
There is no foul for legal substitution. That was the 11th player that ran off.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with that, but second down and 10.
Take a look at what you're talking about here, Dave. Late in his play. No, he looked like he tried to avoid.
I think you're right, yes.
A smart play by Malachi Moore. He goes into the mode to make that contact, sees the ball, is uncatchable, and avoids the receiver. It's well done by a veteran defensive back.
Younger player maybe makes that mistake, right?
That's right.
But not Malachi Moore. Just hard to tell live whether that's what happened. Katie Hutchinson gets about a yard. 3rd down.
Enjoyed the conversation with Malachi Moore. It's back to him and Jalen Milroe. And leadership they have on this team and how you meld the Saban era with the DeBoer era. Guys like Malachi Moore are a key piece in this transition.
34th career start for Moore. The lone player left from that Alabama national championship team in 2020 that was a starter. Finley dumping it off here on 3rd down and long. And Elijah Young has a first down to midfield, gain of 12.
What's a good check down by TJ Finley, continuing to move the chains, deep zone coverage, underneath wide open, just check it down to your back and get a first down. Well done by TJ Finley.
So fresh set of downs at midfield. From empty, another batted ball at the line. That's the 4th time. James Smith with his 2nd pass defense. Smith getting a lot of reps here in the first half.
Credit to the defensive line coach, Freddie Roach. I mean, that's taught. That as you are in your pass rush and you feel like you're not going to get there and the quarterback's about to throw, get your hands up, get in the throwing lane, and get the ball down.
Finley 10 of 20 passing, and again 4 of those 10 incompletions because of passes deflected at the line of scrimmage. Finley losing his balance, just underhands it out of bounds, incomplete.
Roy Rusaw said his name a lot here so far in this first half. The athleticism, the explosive, the shot out of a cannon off the edge. Finley steps up and loses his footing, setting up this 3rd and long.
Western Kentucky 1 for 7 on 3rd down. 4 down territory. Assuming they don't lose yardage here. They went for it from inside their 40-yard line on 4th down, but that was 4th and 1.
Showing some pressure here, Dave.
They back off and rush 4. Finley trying to check it down again. Finds Elijah Young. Young able to get near the line to gain. They'll mark him short by about 1.5 yards. And again, assuming Western Kentucky goes for it down 28-0.
There's no doubt you go for it in this spot. And that's kind of just the thought, dumping it down to your running back, knowing you've got 2 downs to work with, being down 4 scores. Wonder if they go back to quarterback run game with TJ Finley. Been successful a couple of times here in short yardage so far.
Again, the comm shut off at 15 seconds, so it's hand signals after that from the sideline. You could see that going on over there as Finley turned his head towards his coaching staff. He dumps it off across the middle for a first down to Hutchinson. Now, Finley starting to settle in, but perhaps too late.
Man-to-man coverage, shallow crosser. Hutchinson beats the coverage of the true freshman Red Morgan. Another nice conversion for the Hilltoppers.
Going empty here on play 12 of the drive. Finley taking a shot, got a man, underthrown, and broken up, incomplete. That was Red Morgan, the true freshman, on Keyshawn Johnson. Looked like Johnson had a step initially.
A nice job with the late recovery by Morgan. Just a slot fade. Morgan playing that trail technique. Feels when those hands come up. Able to get that ball loose at the last minute. He threw the body a little bit there. A little bit of contact by Red Morgan. Does not draw the flag.
Got Xavier Brown, Jalen Mbakwe, Red Morgan. Very talented true freshman on the back end for Alabama. To the sideline. Catches made by Messer. And he got 4 on the play, bringing up 3rd down and 6. Finley firing, and nice catch in traffic at the 23-yard line. First down, Western Kentucky. Musa Berry hauls it in.
It's a good route by Musa Berry. I like the read by TJ Finley. As soon as he clears linebacker level, he locates his target, fits into a tight window with Malachi Moore coming over the top.
Third time Western Kentucky's been inside the Alabama 30. So far, no points. But they have been able to move the ball on Alabama's defense here in the first half. Play 15 of this possession. Finley, another pass play, and hits Berry again, and he gets suplexed at the 25-yard line by one of the true freshmen we were talking about, Jalen Mbakwe, who played primarily quarterback in high school. He's number 2 on the ESPN 300 overall players.
Excellent athlete. And one thing I liked about what Kane Womack said about him, he loved the fact that he was a quarterback and has an understanding of coverage, defensive back, and he's continued to progress here to the start of the season.
2nd and 8 now. Play clock inside 10 seconds. Finley over the middle, incomplete. Going for Berry, and Mbakwe in coverage brings up 3rd down.
Hand fighting for position there going on, but good tight coverage by the true freshman once again. Giving up some size out there on the outside.
Got 2 downs here. Try to keep the drive alive. Finley much better on this possession, 9 of 14. Third and 8. 17th play. Finley with time. And nice catch made by Messer with a defender Sab all over him right at the marker, and it is a 1st down.
A corner blitz brought off the edge. Mbakwe comes late, opens up, vacates that space. Sab unable to get down in time. Good find once again for TJ Finley. Messer, just a scrappy, good slot receiver, moves the sticks.
Yeah, he had 42 catches last year, 4 touchdowns. Good player in Conference USA. 1st down at the 13. Play fake. Finley dumping it off to Young, and he gets absolutely smacked. Back at the 19 by Deontay Lawson. 1st team preseason, all SEC, a captain. And they lost a lot of guys on that defense, and Lawson will be asked to do more in 2024.
Well, he's a thumper. Good tackler. Go back and watch that SEC championship game against Georgia. He was all over the field, making plays, and quality communicator here on this defense for Kane Womack.
They run it here, and Lawson right there to swallow up Young. Minimal gain, maybe a yard. So 3rd down and about 15.
Tim Keenan, the 3rd in there as well. He's a big body, tough to move. A couple of nice underrated defensive tackles inside. Tim Keenan, Tim Smith, big body guys. Already up that defensive line there on 2nd down.
Yeah, already seen James Smith make a couple plays. One of the rotation guys on that D-line. So 3rd and 14 from inside the Alabama 20. Finley from the pocket goes underneath to Berry, and Berry able to spin away from a defender, and Malachi Moore finally gets into the ground, but it will be 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Check that 4th down, 4th down. They're short of the line to gain because of that negative play on 1st down.
Well, that's a good job by Berry in the open field. The missed tackle by Justin Jefferson, setting up 4th and manageable here.
So 4th down and 5. They're 2 for 2 on 4th down on this drive. Gonna take a timeout. Back in a moment. 4th down coming up. Western Kentucky trying to get on the scoreboard. Defender lowers the shoulder, dives inside the 5, close to the 1st down, but appears short. And Alabama will take over on downs. Tim Keenan made the hit.
Well, good coverage. Nowhere for TJ Finley to go with the football. And I love the pursuit down the line of scrimmage by the big man, Tim Keenan. Stopping TJ Finley short of the line to gain the 21st play of this drive. Dave Pasch results in nothing. Nothing. Wow.
Second time they've been inside the red zone for Alabama. No points to show for it.
Bend but don't break. And it's kind of been this entire philosophy here so far in the first half of this Bama defense. A lot of plays run by Western Kentucky, but not a lot of yards. 45 plays, just 127 yards on the night for the Hilltoppers.
Less than 3 yards per play for Western Kentucky. Yet they've run 3 times as many plays as Alabama. Crimson Tide backed up on the 5-yard line, and Milroe will hand it off here on first down. Haynes with some room off the right edge. Close to a first down at the 15-yard line. And it is a first down.
Offensive line starting to lean on Western Kentucky a little bit. Second straight good run by this offense.
And here's Haynes again with great speed. Haynes might be gone. Inside the 40, inside the 30, 20, inside the 10. Haynes all the way for a touchdown. An 85-yard run for Justice Haynes. They had a 2-play 80-yard drive that was about a minute long earlier. Now they have a 2-play 95-yard drive that's about 30 seconds. $35-0.
We've seen success with the gap scheme running. The pullers out in front. Right guard, Jaden Roberts. Right tackle, Wilcom Formby. You're going to see both of these guys get out in front and open a big hole. And Justice Haynes hits it downhill. He almost ran out of gas there at the end, but really nice block from those pullers wrapped tight. That hole opens up, the acceleration, and it's heels to the field for Justice Haynes. His hammies got a little tight on him, though, there at the end. A big, nice hole opened up. The offensive line will appreciate and enjoy watching when they evaluate and look at this film.
Haynes last year just had 25 carries because of Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams, but Haynes and Jam Miller will get the bulk of the carries. We might see some Richard Young here tonight as well. Third rushing touchdown for Alabama this half. Milroe with one of those, Haynes and Miller the others. Milroe also has 2 passing touchdowns. And once again a touchback for Western Kentucky. We'll cap off our terrific slate of games opening weekend with Labor Day night. Florida State looking to bounce back from the loss in Ireland, taking on Boston College with coverage starting 7:30 Eastern time.
How about that performance by Georgia Tech? Not many people saw that coming. And the real question, how does Florida State respond? What are they going to be able to do? DJ Uyunglele, speaking of, underneath shallow throws, that was kind of the game plan for most of the night. Did have that nice last drive. I'm fascinated to see, the Bill O'Brien era in BC, and how does Mike Norvell get his team to respond in Tallahassee on Monday night?
Boston College was very close to beating Florida State last year. And a new quarterback for Western Kentucky is Caden Veldkamp is in the game. And he will just hand it off here to George Hart on first down. So Veldkamp, we thought we might see at some point. Played in a few games last year. One of the games he played in was in relief in the famous Toastery Bowl. He helped overcome a 28-point deficit, threw for almost 400 yards and 5 touchdowns.
It was an incredible performance. And prior to that game, he'd already put in, at least out on social media, he was going to enter the transfer portal. His dad's a strength coach. He's locally from right there near West Kentucky's school. And he stepped in and had the game of his life. Led this team to a victory, and it's been quite the battle between him and TJ Finley for the starting job. TJ Finley was able to get the nod, but an opportunity here for Caden Beltkamp to try to make some noise and get back into that race.
Saw the speed there of Jihad Campbell taking down George Hart III. We have reached our 2-minute timeout. Something new in college football this year in both halves. Had that yet.
And they're going to lean into that. I mean, that's the one trait of really good coaching.
Had that yet.
And they're going to lean into that. I mean, that's the one trait of really good coaches, is that they adapt and adjust to the skill set of their best players. And I don't think this offense is going to look exactly like it did at Washington a year ago. We touched on the offensive line, built differently than it was at Washington. The quarterback skill set, completely different of Michael Penix. They've got their structure and what they want to do, but the plays they really lean in on and exactly how this offense is going to continue to grow and be shaped throughout the course of the season, I expect to look different than what it had with Michael Penix at Washington. Right? To me, that's smart, good coaching and putting your players that you have in position to succeed.
Here's Elijah Young on the carry, and that, let's see when they start the play clock. They just started it, so they'll have to run one more play. It has been a meteoric rise for Kalen DeBoer. Just 5 years ago was the offensive coordinator at Indiana. 2 short years at Fresno State. 2 brilliant years at Washington within just 1 game of a national championship. And very quickly, 2 days after Nick Saban retires, he's hired by Greg Byrne, the athletic director, to take over and replace arguably the greatest college football coach ever.
And I get it. I understand and can exactly see why, having been around him, talking to his players, talking to his staff. He is an impressive coach. And he's going to have a lot of success here as the head coach at Alabama.
A lot of success in the first half. 42-0 as we send you to the studio, the Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Matt, Joey, and Coach.
Scored 28 points in the second half. They had 400 yards of total offense. It was a blowout.
Now we're going to go Texas and Colorado.
Now we're
You're watching Modelo Kickoff Week.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. From Tuscaloosa, Alabama, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Packed house at Bryant-Denny Stadium for Kalen DeBoer's debut. And while it was a slow start, Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, Taylor McGregor, the offense really got going the last few drives of that second quarter. 42-0.
Explosive plays. I mean, that was the story. And for Western Kentucky, they had some nice drives, but no points out of it. A bit don't break defense for Kane Womack, the new defensive coordinator. But it's all about Alabama in this football game. The takeaways early on led to points, the explosive plays late in the first half. The party has officially begun with the Kalen DeBoer debut here in Tuscaloosa.
And Alabama will get the ball to start the second half. Crimson Tide play South Florida here next week. 2 weeks they're in Madison to play Wisconsin, and they take on Georgia in the SEC opener here on September 28th. Georgia looked pretty good today. Take a look at our playbook, brought to you by Modelo.
Let's go back to early in the football game. The disguise here by Kane Womack's defense. See Keon Sabb, he's hugged up, he's cheating up. TJ Finley never sees him outside, playing safety. Easy interception for the Michigan transfer. 1 and 2 in the first half. Talking about getting pullers out in front. Both guards, Tyler Booker with an excellent block on the perimeter to spring Jalen Milroe. And when Jalen Milroe shows that ability to run, that defense gets sucked up, leaves open targets, and Kendrick Law pays it off.
Jam Miller on first down, has some room. Bangs off a defender out to the 32 as we check in with Taylor.
clean up the little things. That's what Kalen DeBoer said to me at half. He pointed specifically to the communication between his quarterback, Jalen Milroe, and center Parker Brailsford. He felt like they were not in sync, and that's something that they have to get figured out. He felt like that led to the turnover in the first half. Also some substitution things that they want to clean up here. As far as Tyson Helton, he said, for the most part, I liked the way our offense moved the football. They just have to be more efficient in the red zone. He said his message to his team is, it is a new half. Let's take this one series at a time and see if we can climb back into this game, Dave.
And going back to your first point, Taylor, on what Kalen DeBoer told you, don't be surprised if we see the offense out there even if it gets uglier than this, because in the first half they ran 20 plays. That's it. 6 passing plays for Jalen Milroe. And as you said, there were some mistakes early on. They finally got settled in late. Milroe on the run, trying to get the first down. Got pushed out by Devontae Matthews, and now Milroe having a conversation with one of the players on the sideline for Western Kentucky afterwards.
Where Kylan Guidry comes off the edge unscathed, but you see the ability of Jalen Milroe. Feel that pressure, avoid, get outside. But when he hurdled, that ball was back on his hip. If he would have held that ball out forward, he moves the sticks instead. A quick 3 and out to open up the second half of the Tide offense.
Milroe last year finished 5th in the Heisman Trophy voting, and that's after getting benched early in the year, but he really overall had a terrific season. Would imagine, at least early on, will be in the Heisman conversation. 4th down here, penalty
Offense.
flag.
5-yard penalty. It is 4th down.
Although back, Crimson Tide up 5 yards for the punt from Burnett.
That's another area for Kalen DeBoer. 7 penalties now in this game. This Alabama football team, and coming from Washington, they were disciplined, weren't a highly penalized team, another thing that they can work on.
That is a moon ball. Fair caught at the 16 by K.D. Hutchinson. All right, time now for our Aflac trivia question.
Oh, you didn't even tell me I need to get prepared. What do you got for me, Coach?
Well, first of all, if you don't get this one,
okay,
then I mean, as somebody that hosts a college football morning show every day, you'll know this one, because if you don't, we're not asking you to answer any of these the rest of the year. The last head coach to win a national championship in his first season.
It's that easy?
I think so. I believe you were playing at Oklahoma at that time, or maybe it was right before then. So around that time, Beltkamp takes off, and down he goes at the 19, dragged down by Jaheim Otis. You don't have to say it yet, but you know who it is?
Okay. Yeah, I got it. I think they had a big win today.
They had a big win today. They did. They had a big win.
And it was swampy where they were at.
It was very hot and humid where they played, yes. Against a team that they don't play very often.
Coach similar to a soda pop.
It's a good hint. Swing pass, Elijah Young, run out of play at the 21. That was Lawson over there defensively. And look, it's a different era than it was when this person accomplished this back in the early 2000s.
BCS, just say it.
Now you have a 12-team playoff, and you can lose a couple games and get into the playoff.
Right.
Might be able to lose 3 and get into the playoff, especially in a league like the SEC. Beltkamp finds Dalvin Smith, who gets a first down across the 30. And an injured offensive lineman for Western Kentucky, and a penalty marker down as well.
Nice run after the catch by Dalvin Smith. Voids Keon Sabb, who could have had him short of the line to gain.
Illegal block in the back. Number 4, offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
And Trayvon Taylor, the left tackle for Western Kentucky, shaken up. Matheson committed the penalty.
Sabb misses initially, and then Matheson gets Malachi Moore in the back. It's the right call, clearly. Pushed him right in the back of the numbers. takes away what would have been a nice pickup on third down for Dalvin Smith, who's been quiet tonight. Big targets for Western Kentucky season ago. Ball typically finds him, and he's good. You saw there after the catch, but biggest play of the game goes for naught.
That penalty by Matheson you see week 1. If you're seeing those in week 6 to week 8, you're going to get benched.
And he didn't even need to do it. He's going to get the first down anyway.
Exactly. Messer on the catch. Brought down at the 15, and so it'll be a punt here. All right, let's answer tonight's Aflac trivia question. The last head coach to win a national championship in his first year. Again, I think it was just before you started at Oklahoma.
My freshman year.
Okay. It was around that time.
Larry Coker, Miami.
Very good. Yes.
I just want to say the pressure you put on me saying, oh, if you don't get this, as if it was who won the national championship last year. Jeez, please. Fortunately, my brain is larger than yours.
I believe you still hold the Wonderlic record for defensive linemen at the draft. Here's Cole Adams on the move, trying to get the corner. Runs out of real estate at the 40. Alabama's offense back on the field, and we come back leading 42-0 here in T-Town. Well, the SEC was already as good as it gets. It's even better, adding 2 more teams in 2024, going from 14 to 16 with powerhouses Texas and Oklahoma entering the field. No divisions as well. First time since 1991, no divisions in the SEC.
Incredible. It's going to be an outstanding relationship. Oklahoma, Texas coming over, bringing that rivalry, bringing those 2 storied programs to the best conference in all of college football. It really is the perfect fit, and it's going to make for such a fun, intriguing season and for years to come.
Milroe going to keep it himself here, faking it to Richard Young. Scoots out of play after a short gain. Alabama will go to Norman right before the Iron Bowl, November 23rd. In a conference game.
That'll be a big, big moment. They went there back in 2002, and Oklahoma came here in 2003. Obviously faced each other in bowl games and in a playoff game, but now, as you mentioned, as an SEC conference game, it's going to be awesome. Just as an alumni and as a college football fan, just can tell you everybody in the state of Oklahoma, everybody associated with Texas football, fired up to be a part of this SEC.
Well, 3rd down and 4. Jam Miller in the game at running back after Richard Young got reps on the last 2 plays. Milroe with time, throws it downfield on the money. Jeremy Bernard, transfer from Washington, following Kalen DeBoer here to Tuscaloosa, and a gain of 18.
Now, one thing I love here, the pocket presence, eyes, feet working together. It's one thing Kalen DeBoer said that they really tried to work on with Jalen Milroe, an accurate pass outside, and Jeremy Bernard is going to be a nice piece of this offense. They utilized him in a different way at Washington. They had so many good receivers. His production is going to increase here, part of this offense.
Milroe scrambling straight ahead to the 34 for about 4 yards, brought down by Darius Thomas. Again, you think of the guys they lost. Jermaine Burton, 3rd-round pick of the Bengals. Isaiah Bond transferring, and so Bernard coming in, 34 catches last year at Washington, and would expect that to go up this year.
Well, remember, they had Romadunze, they had Polk, they had McMillan, and he was more of a touch guy, return guy, speed, good with the ball, and I think that role is going to increase here inside this offense.
We've already seen Ryan Williams, 2 touches, 2 touchdowns, true freshman. That was Richard Young on the carry. And back to the line of scrimmage. And then we have not seen Caleb Odom yet, highly touted freshman. Might see him at some point this game. Rico Scott, another young guy. Kobe Prentice was the leading returning receiver for Alabama. Had 18 catches last year, 31 though 2 years ago. Does have some big game experience.
One thing about this Bama receiving core, they don't have great size.
Right.
You mentioned Odom. He's the biggest of these receivers. He's young and still kind of find his way. They've got excellent speed. They can run good routes, but the one thing they do lack is size out there on the perimeter.
Here's Cuevas, the tight end. Close to the first down of the 28. when you look at their receivers, and they're all 5'11", 6 feet tall. Emmanuel Henderson listed at 6'1", first down, and then again Caleb Odom jumps. He's about 6'6", played a lot of tight end, but again don't know how much he's going to play. They go too tight here. Milroe, and coming free is Henderson, who we just talked about a second ago, who was recruited as a running back. And one career catch coming in, and that was his first one tonight there.
With a lot of cushion out there on the edge from Ward. Get a lot of space to Emmanuel Henderson. Easy pitch and catch for Jalen Milroe.
And a nice tackle in the backfield on Richard Young at the 22-yard line. That was Upton Stout.
And Upton is very stout, coming in off that safety position. That you love him as a blitzer, all-conference caliber player in Conference USA. Talking with Tyson Summers, defensive coordinator, just raved about what Upton Stout means to this team. The best defensive player on the team. We haven't called his name a lot, but a nice negative play.
A loss of 3, 2nd and 13. Milroe will keep it inside the 10, turns on the Jets, diving for the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. That's his second on the ground, and he's got 3 through the air.
They pull Tyler Booker, get him out in front. Nice big hole. One cut downhill for Jalen Milroe. He's got another gear watching him live, Dave Pasch. That's the one thing, again, just going back to talking to Nick Sheridan, Kalen DeBoer. They continue to tell Jalen Milroe, just be you. And it sure feels like they're going to call plays to his strength. We've seen that on display here throughout this ballgame tonight.
Another point after from Graham Nicholson, and it's 49-0 Alabama. Jalen Milroe accounting for 5 touchdowns in his 2024 debut for his new head coach. Nick Saban retired on January 10th, the greatest of all time. Almost 300 career wins in 28 years, including his time at LSU, won a championship there. Michigan State prior to that. 4 Heisman Trophy winners. Won 8 of his 12 conference championships at Alabama, including the SEC title last year. 7 total national championships, 6 at Alabama. And think about it, when he took over, Mike Shula was the prior coach, and in 4 years, Shula went 26-23. And Coach Saban now a part of our College Game Day crew here tonight. The field will be dedicated, named after him next week here for the South Florida game. But that first year, 2007, they were 7-6. Took a couple years, and then they won a championship, and then they won another one, and another one, and just kept rolling. And every other year was a championship. And I get that, Georgia has won a couple recently. But Nick Saban was 5-1
right.
against Kirby Smart, who used to coach for him here.
And they are the reigning SEC champions as they took him down last year in Atlanta. He is the greatest, in my estimation, of all time. The level of consistency. You gave a stat earlier. Alabama comes in ranked 5th in the AP poll in the preseason. That's the highest they've been ranked, the lowest they've been ranked since 2009. I mean, just every single year, from the way they've recruited to the domination on the field, unlike anything we've ever seen, especially in the modern era of college football.
And he just smiled more in the 30 seconds we were shooting him there than he probably smiled in 17 years on the field here as the head coach. Was always all business, never satisfied. He'd win a championship. Yep. He'd be done and saying, okay, let's move on to next year. We got to start thinking about next year. And amazing what he accomplished here in Tuscaloosa as we check in with Taylor.
And I think the players have so much respect for what he accomplished, but now they have to move forward. And they said their favorite thing about Kalen DeBoer is how he came in and immediately said, I want to continue the Alabama standard, not trying to change too much, has his own spin on things, but he has so much respect. And having the wherewithal to follow a coach like Saban and not flinch is something that's certainly impressed this group about what Kalen DeBoer has brought so far to follow a guy like Nick Saban.
DeBoer and Saban talk occasionally, not a ton. They did talk a lot when DeBoer got the job, and Nick Saban was a big proponent. They had not met until the press conference to introduce Kalen DeBoer, but Nick Saban was well aware of the fast-rising Kalen DeBoer as a brilliant offensive mind and an excellent head coach.
They're smart on Greg Byrne to get the stamp of approval from Nick Saban for his replacement, and it does look and feel different. They go about things a different way, but that is one thing. Malachi Moore said this when Kalen DeBoer got there and he talked to all the players and he got his leadership council and he brought some of the veteran guys in to ask them, about the standard that Nick Saban had left, things that they wanted to keep a part of it. Now, he's made some different things, but he's also kept a lot of the things the same, as Taylor talked about, and I think it only sets you up to have success immediately here in this opening season for Kalen DeBoer.
Well, Dusty was talking about the consistency of Nick Saban at Alabama. Last year, Georgia was #1 all year until Bama beat him. So Alabama never got to #1 last year. That was the first time since 2008 that they had not been to #1 at some point during the season.
Wow. That's a remarkable stat.
Ty Simpson in the game at quarterback. Very talented sophomore from Martin, Tennessee. Here he is on the run and right on cue. Throwing a strike to Kobe Prentice. And a gain of about 15.
Nice shot filling this pressure by Ty Simpson. Free hitter comes inside. He just moves to his right. Under control. Finds an open Kobe Prentice. Nice strike.
Now Daniel Hill in the game at running back gets the carry. Simpson last year played in 6 games, threw 20 passes, had a couple rushing touchdowns, redshirted after playing 4 games 2 years ago. Big time recruit though, coming out of Westview High School. Caleb Odom in the game for the first time, and again Daniel Hill got the carry on the last play. No gain though, 2nd and 10. Under 5 minutes to play here in the third. 49-0 Alabama. Quick throw out in space. Prentice again making the defender miss. What a sweet move, getting the first down inside the 20.
It's a huge year and opportunity for Kobe Prentice. You touched on leading receptions man from last year's team coming back this year. Showed good leadership going back to the spring in that wide receiver room. What nice grabs here on this drive.
And here's Simpson keeping it. Pretty good athlete inside the 10 and got tripped up as he dove for the end zone, but stepped out of play as he stumbled. Had Emmanuel Henderson out there blocking for him. Gain of 15.
One thing I want to pay attention to here, the receiver blocking on the perimeter. Multiple good blocks by receivers outside. Henderson with a good block. Kobe Prentice with a good block. That was a staple of what Washington did under Kalen DeBoer. Nice job out there on the perimeter by those receivers.
Hill straight ahead down to about the 1-yard line. Well, you think about the Washington receivers under Kalen DeBoer and the blocking they did downfield. They're very physical, involved in the run game. And that was a Nick Saban thing too. You had to be more than just a receiver if you were going to play offense here. And a timeout called. Well, tomorrow morning, the famed Italian Grand Prix gets started at 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Pre-race coverage at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. So a great weekend of various sports across the ESPN networks.
No doubt. Talked earlier about that LSU-USC game coming up tomorrow night. F1's just on fire right now. The Italian Grand Prix. You know a thing or two about Italy, Dave. We've just been like 2 months there. You summering
Not that long, not that long. But would love to be there for the Grand Prix, though. But just the timing of it. I mean, it'd be hard to get there for tomorrow and get back in time to get ready for our game next week.
I said Grand Prix. I just said Grand Prix. Tell your Italian native.
No, I think that's how you're supposed to say it wherever you're from. Grand Prix.
Oh, is that okay?
Correct.
Thank you for the lesson.
2nd and goal for Simpson. Hill runs into an offensive lineman, but keeps the feet moving. Waiting for the signal. In. Touchdown, Alabama. 55-0.
Take a look from the side. Kept those legs moving through contact, staying low. Tough to tell. You see the knee go down. Where was that ball right when the knee hits the ground? See anything there that's going to be enough to overturn it? It's close.
Yeah, hard to tell if he stretched out after.
Knee down. Where's the ball?
And apparently they felt that there was not enough to have further review.
I would concur.
Collaborative replay now, the SEC Video Center. And the freshman Hill into the end zone. The extra point from Connor Talty. And it's 56-0. All right, the Taco Bell Live Más student section. All season long, student sections across the country are competing to be the Taco Bell Live Más student section of the year. Download the Taco Bell app to learn more. It was a rain-soaked student section earlier. The Walk of Champions, which is obviously tradition here in Tuscaloosa. Under Nick Saban, it would be 2 hours before. Under Kalen DeBoer, moved it to 2.5 hours before. One of the players here earlier. And almost didn't happen today because torrential downpour for about an hour and a half. But they actually got it in at the last second. Not much went as planned for Kalen DeBoer in his debut between the weather and some lightning. Again, that was about 2-3 hours before kickoff. And then we had a 6-minute delay after kickoff because the communication devices were not working. So coaches couldn't talk to coaches. Coaches couldn't talk to players over the headsets.
What has gone to plan? The scoreboard.
100%. And we still got a long way to go. SEC football final is back for another season. The crew will take you through the biggest stories of the day and break down all the games tonight at 11 Eastern, 10 Central. About an hour from now, over on the SEC Network and the ESPN app.
Georgia, that second half today, boy, did they look good. They look like the #1 team in college football. Can we give a shout out to Vanderbilt? How about that win today over Virginia Tech? Huge for Clark Lee and the Commodores.
And the fact they blew the big lead, yet fought through it and ended up winning the game. I mean, a lot of people thought Virginia Tech was going to challenge for the ACC title and still might, so huge win for Vanderbilt.
Some people, and some that we might be throwing to back in studio, picked them to win the ACC.
Who was that?
No names. I'm just saying some people, maybe.
But you did not.
I did not.
Did you have Clemson winning the ACC championship?
Maybe I did.
How do you feel about that prediction right now?
Well, there's a long way to go, but that offense struggled. Give Georgia's defense a lot of credit. We did not see that step in the right direction from Kate Klubnik, Garrett Riley, year 2 together that I was expecting. And I tell you, boy, what Miami did today going into Gainesville, the Cam Ward era is off and running. They were, as advertised, a lot of those new pieces there on both the offense and the defense. Impressive win for Mario Cristobal. They feel like, as we sit here right now, the top team in the ACC.
41-17, the final in Gainesville. Jump ball downfield, and it's broken up. What a nice play by Deshaun Jones. They were not sure he was going to play. He's been battling a hamstring injury. Wake Forest transfer, speaking of the ACC. Nicely done there to force a punt.
It's good positioning, create that pass breakup. We've seen this defense all throughout the course of this game give a little bit, but find a way to get stops. And now once they've really dug their heels in, as the offense has found its stride, as has the defense. Western Kentucky hasn't gotten much in a while.
Great punt, though, by Maynard. Fair catch made from Mbakwe. Let's take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Allstate. And you already hit on some of these scores. Oregon right now up 14-0 over Idaho. Fresno State kind of hanging around.
Wow.
And A&M and Notre Dame tied at 6 in College Station.
Knockdown, drag out. You kind of thought it would be two good defenses there at College Station. The Mike Elko era underway. Riley Leonard there at Notre Dame. Connor Wigman. I'm surprised at that Michigan score. Alex Orji taking over on offense. A lot of change there in Ann Arbor. Coaching staff, roster.
Of course, the biggest change, Jim Harbaugh, now head coach of the Chargers. Michigan's got a big one next week. Texas going there. About a minute and a half to go here in the third quarter. Ty Simpson out there for another series. Off play action. That throw got the running back Richard Young turned around, and he could not make the catch.
They're high on Richard Young. The redshirt freshman, much like a lot of this roster, very talented coming in. Going to provide excellent depth. Saw a heavy dose of Justice Haynes, Jam Miller. Expect to see that throughout the course of the season. But Richard Young, that next man up.
Young on the perimeter, getting the carry, and hit hard on the sideline of the 26-yard line. A gain of maybe 1 on the play. That's Kylan Guidry with the stick. He led the team in tackles last year.
It's really well done by Guidry. Keeps that outside arm free, sets that edge, knifes underneath. Nice tackle on the perimeter.
So 3rd down and 9. Pressure off the edge. Simpson spinning back towards it and unloads incomplete. 4th down.
It's a good stop by Western Kentucky. Pressure early. Forcing the hand of Ty Simpson. As he spun out, he tried to square his shoulders. Good coverage down the field. Nobody find open. And for the first time, what feels like a while, Western Kentucky comes up with a stop.
So Burnip will boot it deep to K.D. Hutchinson. Burnip last year averaged about 48 yards per punt. Number 2 all-time at Alabama. And he's preseason first team All-SEC. They got everything. Our Sunday night baseball matchup, series finale, Braves-Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. Our coverage starts 6 Eastern baseball tonight. Sunday night countdown. Great time of year. Major League Baseball playoffs on the horizon. College football season getting underway. The NFL starts next week. NHL and NBA will be here as well before you know it. Western Kentucky's run 10 plays this quarter, and they have 0 yards, and now they have negative. Messer drilled out of bounds at about the 24-yard line by Bray Hubbard.
Good job by Hubbard coming down, run support, defense up front, and forcing that out to the perimeter. Just good team defense all the way around, nowhere to go with the football.
They gave him the 26. Still a loss of 2. 2nd and 12. Final seconds here of the third quarter. They don't have to snap it, and doesn't look like they're in a rush to do so. Western Kentucky among the favorites in Conference USA, but this has not been the Hilltoppers night. All Alabama here in Tuscaloosa. 56-0 after 3.
Your team in a game like this?
Well, you know, the moments starting fast early in the game. When the opportunities are there, you got to go make a play. You know, a lot of guys get an opportunity to go out there and put some film on. And, you know, we're getting to know our team. And when they get a chance to get out there and make a play, you know, it's good to see it. So getting into these second guys, you know, they haven't played a lot of football. And so this is a great opportunity for them to get out there and get in the flow and get the feel of it.
Thank you. Dave?
Great question from Taylor. Yep. Dusty, I mean, how really can you evaluate this? It almost feels a little bit like the spring game in terms of how much really you can gain from this tonight. Right?
Well, it's tough, and I think you've got to really, as coaches, look for any single thing you can to nitpick and really coach up, because the competition's only going to get tougher week by week as they get ready for Georgia coming up week number 4.
And they have to go to Madison in a couple weeks. South Florida's here next week. The game against Georgia is on September 28th at night here in Tuscaloosa, as that pass is incomplete. Alabama plays at Tennessee, Missouri home. They go to LSU. We already mentioned they go to Oklahoma and play Auburn in the Iron Bowl here in Tuscaloosa on November 30th.
But this is a great opportunity, to Coach's point there, you know, guys that may not get a lot of reps to show themselves, you know, guys that have been pushing in practice to get on the field and maybe don't crack the top 2 deep, but now they get a chance to get out here, perform, and put something on tape. So it does provide a good opportunity, but true evaluation, it becomes very tough.
And Mbakwe backing up. And the ball rolls to a stop at the 20. Alabama's offense will be on the field when we come back. 56-0 Crimson Tide. Format in the SEC, still with the 8 conference games. Now you have one opponent from a Power 4 or major independent for Alabama. It's Wisconsin. As we mentioned earlier, first time in 33 years, no division. So the top 2 teams based on winning percentage will be in the SEC championship game.
Love that too, by the way. Makes so much sense. You want to create the best possible matchups, get your best teams in your championship games. Pretty much most of the Power 4, the Power 4 conferences have all moved to that. We'll see if they stick at 8 moving forward. We know for at least this year and next year, 8-game conference slate. Will they get to 9? I think the more the merrier for college football fans. The more you see these quality teams playing each other. But for now, 8's the magic number for conference games, and what a conference slate it is.
Rico Scott was the intended receiver on that last play, and now it's Kevin Riley, the running back. He's the 5th back, yet you see the speed immediately. And he gets the first down. And they're bringing it back a little bit, saying he stepped out at the 30, just a yard shy. Still a 9-yard gain.
It's a good job by Riley finding the perimeter. See the burst of speed as he hits the sidelines. Steps out just shy of the first down, but a nice pickup. Do you like the way they're doing that with no divisions and top 2 teams play?
I think it's great. Yes, terrific. And, you know, Greg Sankey had alluded to that a couple times the last few years, that, you know, maybe that was the goal at some point. And as they get the first down here, great to have it in the first year of this new playoff era that we've got with the 12-team expansion.
Obviously, new leadership here at Alabama with Kalen DeBoer, but talking about leadership, how about the leadership of Greg Sankey in the SEC? I mean, he's as powerful and well-respected a person as there is in college football, and he's just done a fabulous job with this league.
Again, grabbing Texas and Oklahoma. Think of the interest over the years. I mean, the Pac-12 at one point, Texas and Oklahoma were in discussion perhaps to go west. Obviously, we're down to the Power 4 because of what happened with the Pac-12. And then, you know, Oklahoma and Texas, probably some overtures from the Big Ten, you would imagine. So to grab those 2 schools, expand the SEC, bring back now the Texas A&M rivalry, the Arkansas-Texas rivalry, and start some new rivalries with that Oklahoma and some of the holdovers from the SEC.
And keep that geographical footprint too. That's the other thing. Like, I mean, when you look at the SEC, and all these states are connected, it's the same geographic footprint, and a little bit of what these additions are bringing to the table. 50 conference championships, Dave. That's going to shake us up.
Good win for Oklahoma last night. It's first SEC game, although obviously not a conference game, but first game as a member of the SEC. Texas winning big earlier today over Colorado State.
He looked good too. Hey, Sark has got it going down in Austin right now. He really does.
Kevin Riley brought down at the 45, 1-yard gain. There's some interesting teams really curious about this year in the SEC. Obviously, Ole Miss, people are very high on the Rebels. Can they get to the college football playoff? Can they win the league? As Simpson's pass is caught by Odom for a first down. Flag comes down. See what the penalty's about.
You did the spring game, and you really liked Odom coming out of that spring game. His size and still learning how to be a receiver. Is he a tight end? Is he a receiver? But I know coming out of that spring game, you were very high on him.
Yeah, the coaching staff really was talking him up. Obviously, Ryan Williams.
That
at that point wasn't here.
The result of the play is a first down.
So, penalty on the defense. And Odom was about 225, 230, and in the spring he was listed at 215. But you just see, and you and I were watching him.
Yeah,
I mean he looked better without pads yesterday than a lot of guys wearing pads. Just a freshman, and then you got Ryan Williams, who had touchdowns in his first 2 touches today. 17 years old, built very differently from Caleb Odom, but equally talented. Boy, Simpson takes a shot, and that's underthrown and intercepted back at the 5-yard line by Kent Robinson. Penalty marker down, though, in the backfield. After the shot on Simpson, officials still talking about the call.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting, number 3 on the defense. The play is under further review.
So Darius Thomas, personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting. Let's see.
From that angle, I don't know. It looked like the initial contact goes into his chest. It's like his face is up. Looked to me like he hits him with his face mask right in his chest.
Wasn't a crown of the helmet. Did you see an indicator there? No, it didn't really look like targeting.
No, he finishes up top, but that initial contact comes at his chest and works up through Simpson's face mask. No crown of the helmet. You see a launch?
No.
I don't think that's targeting, Dave.
I agree.
Which is rare that you and I agree on targeting.
I mean, you could make the case that that's not roughing the passer either. I mean, it's a big hit, but he didn't take more. He took a step.
Not.
If they take off the targeting, they're still going to be roughing the passer. You can't take that off, but I'm just saying I think that was in question as well.
I don't think it should be rough the passer. I mean, he wins inside, he gets home, hits him in the chest as he's working through the quarterback. I view that as a good clean hit. Now, I call it skewed out of the eyes of a defensive tackle.
So again, they can't remove the roughing, but they can remove the targeting. Let's see if they
After
do it.
review, there is no targeting on number 3. There is roughing the passer, which will be enforced from the previous spot. It's first down.
So that'll keep this going here for Ty Simpson, and they'll place the ball at the 24 of Western Kentucky as they look to add to this 56-0 lead. So again, we did not see, because no crown of the helmet, we did not see a launch, the severe strike. There was no forcible contact to the head or neck area. Daniel Hill back in at running back, had a touchdown in the third quarter. Simpson gets rid of it quickly across the middle, juggled and then pulled in by Kobe Prentice down to the 15 for 9 yards.
Ty Simpson's been efficient stepping in here, running this offense. Quite a bit of the third quarter and to start this fourth quarter.
Oh, big hit on that Ball thrown to Prentice. Odom, true freshman, maybe made a mistake there. They're trying to set up the screen to his side, and the pass broken up by Kent Robinson.
Reads it perfectly, trying to set up the screen. Odom's late to block the corner. He recognizes it immediately, forces that play, a big hit, and a nice pass breakup.
Pre-snap shifting. Stumbling, but keeping his balance is Simpson, and into the end zone for another Bama score. Well, you mentioned Ty Simpson's an athlete. Couple of rushing touchdowns last year, and one here to make it 62-0.
It's a really good read by Ty Simpson. Reads the pressure coming off the edge. Keeps the ball right there in that mesh. Nice job as the defender closes on the running back. He knows he can get to the perimeter, can get to the edge. Easy keep for him, and walks into the end zone for another Bama touchdown.
So that's the fifth different player to have a rushing touchdown for Alabama tonight. 6 rushing touchdowns in all. 2 from Jalen Milroe, Justice Haynes, Jam Miller, Daniel Hill, each with 1, and now Ty Simpson with 1. Extra point from Talty makes it 63-0. Ty Simpson, very talented. We've seen the arm and now the legs from Simpson here in the second half.
Time is presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. 19 hotel brands, 1 loyalty program. Download the app.
They're 2 of the greatest ever to do it. Bear Bryant, Nick Saban. And we touched on this in the open. As you look at Alabama scoring the 3rd most points in a season opener since 1933, most being 89 back in 1951. But you think of how many have taken on the mantle as a coach of trying to follow a legend like John Wooden, Bear Bryant, Vince Lombardi, Phil Jackson, Pat Summitt at Tennessee. How many have tried and have not succeeded? But Kalen DeBoer does have a history of success, including his national championship run at Washington, losing in the title game to Michigan a year ago. As we go to the studio and Matt.
All right, guys, time now for your Chick-fil-A move on the field, and we finally have a touchdown in Notre Dame, Texas A&M. Jadarian Price gets to the corner and goes 65 yards for the touchdown. Notre Dame now on top, 13-6.
It's impressive by Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman taking that lead. Riley Leonard's first start for the Irish. Going to beat his old coach, Mike Elko. Got a good one in College Station, as we all expected.
Belkamp dumps it off out to the 30-yard line. To take over for somebody like Nick Saban, you have to have the right demeanor, a balance of humility and confidence. And Kalen DeBoer has that without question.
There's a lot of people, I remember when this job came up, the big talk was, who wants to take that job? Who would want to follow up Nick Saban? And we talked to Greg Byrne yesterday. That was one of the things that is really drawn to Kalen DeBoer, also amongst so many people raving about him and the success on the field. But he embraces, following Nick Saban. He embraces that, the confidence that he has and the feeling that he's going to be able to step in and do an excellent job. Few people possess that. And we've spent a lot of time tonight talking about how he goes about it a different way. There's a calmness to him. There's a different feel, a different vibe around this team, a more easygoing feel, fun nature throughout that all these players talk about. And I was at practice yesterday, and I'm going to show you a clip in a second that really exudes and talks about just that.
Belkamp throws and incomplete. Barry could not hang on.
Here's the video that I got a chance to see. So it's tied teammates. Okay, a local child is honored each week. He started this at Washington. And being there, this is a day before game. This is in the spring game. You see that in spring games. But brings out the young girl, and she's battling through some different things. And her favorite player is Jalen Milroe. And Jalen Milroe gets to hand her the ball. And she goes and scores a touchdown. And the players just loved it. And everyone was so loose and having a good time. And there's so many elements to that. It's also a big part that he wants these guys to understand that there's more than just about football. He told us he wants to capture the hearts and minds of his players. And I just thought it was a really special, cool moment that I had never seen on a Friday practice day before a game. And it just kind of speaks to the different atmosphere, the different culture that surrounds Kalen DeBoer. And I thought it was absolutely awesome.
Taylor has more.
It was so interesting, Dusty, when we were asking about it, and the first way he described it is, I want my guys to celebrate people. And what a powerful message that is. It sounds simplistic, but the way they're able to do that on a Friday before a big game, it was a really special message from my perspective.
No question, and not saying Nick Saban didn't do a lot of the same things. Of course, he did. But this is something that Kalen DeBoer at practice wanted to do yesterday, and something that he's used to doing. And he does talk a lot about, I'm in the people business. I want to win. I'm here to win. But it's about the players and people. And in talking to the players, that was clear. It was a clear point that every player we met with yesterday, and we met with multiple players, made about Kalen DeBoer, that there is an emphasis on relationships with the players. Big hole here for Daniel Hill, out to the 49 for 11.
And he said success starts with service. And, he talked to us about Bob Young, his former coach at Sioux Falls, and it being his why, and just talked about always having an attitude and gratitude, and just really cool to be around here the last couple of days, sit with Coach DeBoer, his players, other coaches, and even Kane Womack, who worked with him in Indiana, Nick Sheridan, just to listen to his players. They just talk about how good of a human he is, good of a person he is. Special guy. Alabama's got a special coach, and boy, they're off to a pretty special start here tonight.
Dylan Lonergan, by the way, is in at quarterback, and he just handed off to Daniel Hill. Is checked back with Taylor.
And I thought the other word that was described to use, Kalen, that is so on point is steady and consistent. And when you're steady and consistent as a leader, then the people who follow you will show up to you in that same type of way. And I think that's what we're seeing very early here from Kalen, is everyone knows what to expect when they interact with him. And so therefore the consistency and the results have followed him, especially in his previous stops. We look at the winning record and everything he's been able to do.
And, it's interesting, too. You see it in sports all the time where somebody gets to a level that they haven't been before and they change. Either success gets to them or fear of failure gets to them, and they react differently to those things. But in talking with, again, so many people that have known Kalen DeBoer over the years, and some that are just getting to know him, the message is he's been the same guy. Whether it was winning at Washington or winning at Sioux Falls, same guy. Things don't change. Same every day. And that matters when you're taking on a job like this. So Dylan Lonergan is the quarterback. As we mentioned, he's back to throw here. Baseball player, played in one game last year, threw a couple passes, takes off about the 30-yard line before he scoots out of play. Lonergan, Snellville, Georgia, redshirt freshman. Austin Mack would be the next quarterback in if we get there, and he followed Kalen DeBoer from Washington, a 17-year-old transfer, reclassified to go to UW to play for DeBoer last year.
Boy, Mack, a big quarterback, too. We saw him stand out there yesterday. He's every bit of 6'5", 6'6"-ish. Nick Sheridan had a lot of good things to say about Dylan Lonergan. We see him step in here, the third opportunity at quarterback.
And here's Daniel Hill, and that's something, too, we have not really been able to dive into just yet. Kalen DeBoer's not calling the plays. It's Nick Sheridan that's calling the plays. And obviously, DeBoer is involved, but it's an opportunity for Nick Sheridan, who was an offensive coordinator at Indiana. He was a tight ends coach there at Indiana when DeBoer was the offensive coordinator, and then took over when DeBoer moved on to be the head coach at Fresno State. And now Sheridan gets a second chance to call the offense here at Alabama. Inside 5 minutes to go. Alabama up 63-0. South Florida comes to town next week. Hill pinballs off a defender down to the 24. Well, tomorrow night on ABC and ESPN Plus, our terrific Labor Day slate rolls on with a good one from Las Vegas. 13th ranked LSU, number 23 USC. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. We touched earlier on the post Caleb Williams era. Now you got the post Jaden Daniels era.
Garrett Nussmeier did their spring game. Put me on the Nuss bus. He's impressive. Kyron Lacey's going to have a big year. And that offensive line at LSU, one of the absolute best in the country. Will Campbell, left tackle, is fantastic. I like LSU in that one.
Really curious. USC has one of the most brutal schedules in the country, and it starts with the Tigers tomorrow.
College football studio time now for our Chick-fil-A move on the field, and this getting interesting at the big house. Mikey Keene to Raylan Sharp, and Fresno State pulls within a touchdown, 16-10 Michigan.
Wisconsin was in a little trouble last night, ended up pulling out the win, but obviously it's a little bit different when you're the defending champs and you're in a tight game against Fresno State. Wow. Week 1. Meanwhile, 3rd and 3. And it's a first down for Kevin Riley as Kalen DeBoer has a chance to do something in his first game that Nick Saban never did at Alabama.
In 17 seasons, the most points scored in a game by a Nick Saban coach team, 66. He did it twice. Once in 17 to Ole Miss, once in 19 to Western Carolina. Touchdown here. I'm not as good at math as you with your Syracuse degree, but I think a touchdown would put him over that 66 mark.
And here goes Kevin Riley. Nice open field tackle at the 18-yard line by Alex Ford.
Got to go back to 73. The last time Bama put over 70 on the board. Our great stats man Ken Dunlap getting after it here tonight.
So over 50 years since that last happened. Dylan Lonergan, the third quarterback tonight for Alabama. Jalen Milroe at 5 touchdowns, 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. 2nd and 7 on the 17. And Riley gets nailed right at the line of scrimmage by Rivera Harvey. Our final Labor Day weekend game is Monday in Tallahassee. How will Florida State respond? Will the Noles bounce back after the loss in Ireland to Georgia Tech? They host Boston College with coverage starting at 7:30 Eastern Time. Bill O'Brien, who just a couple of years ago was the offensive coordinator here. Yeah. Bryce Young was here. Now the head coach of the Eagles.
Thomas Castellanos, his quarterback. Keep an eye on him. He is a problem to deal with for defenses. I think Florida State bounces back on Monday night.
2-minute timeout. 63-0 Alabama. 3rd down when we come back. ESPN College Football Primetime presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. This is part of Modelo Kickoff Week. Kalen DeBoer with a successful debut as the Alabama head football coach. His record as a head coach after tonight will improve to 105-12, putting a 25-3 record at Washington the last 2 years. He'll be 1-0 at Alabama with South Florida here next Saturday, and then a game at Wisconsin the following week. Georgia here at the end of the month, end of September. Kevin Riley close at the 11-yard line. It'll be 4th down. Alabama looks like it's going to keep the offense on the field.
South Florida, they gave Alabama all they wanted and some a season ago in Tampa. At the last game that Jalen Milroe didn't start. So I would imagine this team has a sense of we want to have a much better showing on Saturday night as they go for it on 4th down.
4th and a yard. And Lonergan going to hand it off. And Riley has the first down.
Going to Madison before Georgia comes here. And it's a tough schedule throughout. Going to Tennessee this year. Got to go to LSU, to Oklahoma, Missouri, and Georgia, as well as Auburn for the Iron Bowl coming here. Schedule makers did not make it easy for Coach DeBoer in his first season at the helm.
And the way the SEC is now, I mean, it's always been that way, but even more so with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. I mean, there aren't many teams that can look at their schedule and say, okay, that's a win. And maybe you can do that some years with certain teams, but does not appear that way this year. Lonergan takes a knee, and that's it. DeBoer's debut in the books, 63-0. Alabama trounces Western Kentucky. And it's really all ball from here on out. Kalen DeBoer won't have to answer too many questions about where he was prior to here and how he got here and his philosophy and the differences between him and Nick Saban. And I think he's pretty happy that pretty much the rest of the season, most of the questions are going to center around football. And Taylor is standing by with Coach.
But Dave, before that happens, we have to recap today. This game will forever be remembered as your first win with this program. How will you remember today?
I'm just proud of the way the guys came out and played. They've been working hard, and there's not time to reflect. We're in the season, we're in the heat of it. We're on to the next week now. We're going to learn from our mistakes and all that kind of stuff. But it's a great way to start, obviously, and appreciate all the fans here. It's been an awesome week of building up energy for this opener, and proud of how the guys came out and played.
What has your attention then?
Just building on the things that we did well and cleaning up the mistakes that we know we can improve on. And so it happened on both sides of the ball. And there's a lot of promise, and there's great opportunity for a lot of guys to get out there and get some snaps. Older guys obviously perform, and some younger guys. We have a kind of a big gap there in our roster, and so some young guys got out there. We need to keep developing every play.
Coach, appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thank you, roll time.
Dave.
All right, Taylor, and as we mentioned, will be interesting next week, given what South Florida did last year, although Alabama at that point, the quarterback situation obviously was really uncertain. And then their game against a Power 4 outside the SEC in Madison, and then the SEC play starts against.
We'll learn more and more the next couple of weeks, but we'll know a lot come September 28th when Georgia comes here to Tuscaloosa. But for tonight, what a debut for Coach DeBoer.
63-0 the final score. For our entire crew, Dusty Dvorak, Taylor McGregor, I'm Dave Pasch saying so long from Tuscaloosa. Up next, we send you to Tucson. Brian Custer, Rod Gilmore, Lauren Sisler. Brian, take it away.